We got Tyler Hansbrough here. We got Randolph Childress. We got Terrence Oglesby. I'm John Fanta. T, you're at the Final Four. You're on the field of 68. How are you?
I'm doing great. This year it's a little different than last year. Enjoyed the Final Four last year a lot more, but
enjoyed the tournament a lot more.
But no, it's been exciting. I'm glad to be here with you guys.
Hey, let me say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tyler walked up the steps, man. Tyler could still play if he needed to.
No. Tyler gave me the inside scoop on those knees. He's a hell of a pickleball player now.
Oh, that's right.
I think he gave up the basketball.
The transition to pickleball, my knees cannot. I can't take the pounding up and down the floor.
Was
anymore.
it Martha? Was it Martha that's your teammate?
I'm telling you, Martha will kick all our asses.
There's
at
no
pickleball.
look, there's no question, and they take it serious.
Oh, you can't judge a book by its cover.
No,
at pickleball.
not at all. Not at all.
Uh-huh.
That's a growing. They had it on ESPN while we were doing a show. McEnroe was playing pickleball and threw his racket. I don't know if you guys saw that.
I saw it earlier.
Yeah, that was happening. Sorry,
right,
we need to get back
let's
to
get to real talk.
As opposed to pickleball.
No, we're getting to real talk right now because
like
we
that.
are going to talk right now the state of the Tar Heels.
I like it.
The state of the Tar Heels. So, all right, we get the Caleb Love news. You get the Armando Bacot news. RJ Davis, you look at how things have started in the offseason, I would call it positive. What do you think if you're this coaching staff, if you're running the program, if you're looking at next year, what are the team needs?
Outside shooting, and I would say desperately outside shooting. But to me, I don't think we lack the talent. I think we also maybe need to implement the bench a little bit to not rely so much on the starters. But for me, in a way, it would be leadership, outside shooting, and depth, and also will to win. I mean, we have the talent. We just need court discipline and better shot selection. It would be what I would think would greatly improve this team.
I felt like that that was improved with some of the roster subtractions. And then I think I was telling Rob this the other day. I think this is a best case scenario for North Carolina. I felt like Caleb Love needed a fresh start. North Carolina needed something different at that spot. Bacot comes back. He's dominant. RJ Davis, we know what he can do. And now you can fill your roster a little bit differently. Most of your guys off the bench transferred out. Now you can really get after the portal. And if you're Hubert Davis, you can say, hey, this is North Carolina if it's Nick Timberlake from Towson who could really shoot the basketball. If it's just throw in another player. Do you feel like, if I'm a Carolina guy, I'm feeling pretty positive about the direction of the roster and, quite frankly, the opportunity of the roster moving forward?
Yeah, and I guess for me, I don't really like to see a lot of the guys leave.
Sure,
I thought maybe Tyler Nickel could have developed into something beneficial. And I understand Caleb wanted a fresh start.
Yeah.
But sometimes I felt like Caleb was kind of took a blame for a lot of the issues.
Sure.
That it's really hard to pinpoint, this team's downfall this year just on one guy.
Right.
But I do think that Jalen Washington, a kid
good
who
player.
could really develop.
He's going to be really good.
Really good.
And I think he's actually a potential NBA player.
Oh, he is.
I think he
He needs to get healthy because he had 2 torn ACLs in high school. That jumped the physicality in college, but he has the skill set, the requisite skill set to get to college and be an elite player, and I think he will.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is, when you play sporadic minutes,
Yes.
it's tough to get your confidence
Can't get
going
consistent.
and to get into a rhythm. I think if he gets more minutes and develops, a little bit of confidence and flow, I think he's just going to develop into a pretty good player and become somebody off the bench or even move into a 4-man position to help spread the court and open things up for Armando.
I think he could do that.
We just asked Jim Boeheim about the ACC. How would you assess the ACC in general as a league?
It's the best conference to ever exist in basketball, period. And the ACC's down this year. Fanta, I know you're a Big East guy. And listen, it's no secret. But the ACC historically, I don't think Duke's going anywhere. North Carolina's rising back to the top.
Yep.
Miami, when you talk about NIL, They may have the best NIL package in the country. They're on the rise. Larry Nega can coach. And you know what? I think Virginia's turning into, I don't know, blue blood, but they're coming into a powerhouse program that you can consistently, rely on.
Now, wait a minute. Hold on a second. I asked you about the ACC, and your first team that you brought up was that Duke's not going anywhere.
He's being objective now. He's a media guy, Fanta. Leave him alone. He's a media guy now.
Duke is not going anywhere. Hey,
as much as he hates him, as much as we all
competitive next year.
I think Duke. So I think Duke is the best team in the country heading into next year. I know that might come off as a hot take. I think Duke can win it all. The fact that Tyrese Proctor and Mark Mitchell are coming back.
But we got to see what the other guys do. Lively's decision, I'm making the assumption Filipowski's leaving.
Roach can come back.
I assume Roach, but we don't know. I'm assuming he does.
Roach and Proctor
But we
together?
have to wait until this final.
Tell me why Duke, because I'm considering putting them number one in my way too early top 25. Like, is that fair to put way too early?
Well, let's see what UConn does.
Well, they're losing Jordan Hawkins, and they could lose Adama Sanogo.
They got a hell of a class coming in. Klingen development, Castle coming in. They got some dudes coming in.
But then they're getting young again.
Today's episode of the Field of 68 After Dark is presented by our partners over at Underdog Fantasy, the easiest place to play college basketball pick'em, where you can win real cash prizes simply by picking player stats in this weekend's Final Four games. In pick'em, all you do is pick whether a player will go higher or lower on Underdog's projected totals, whether it's points or rebounds or assists or all of them combined. If you're like me and you think Adama Sanogo is going to go nuts this weekend, pick higher on his points projection, pick higher on his rebounds projection, maybe throw in a lower on Matt Bradley's scoring totals, a higher on Isaiah Wong, whatever it is that you like. Put them all together, and if you hit them all, then you can win as much as 20 times your money on a single game. Underdog's slick mobile app is easy enough that dummies like Jeff Goodman have even figured out how to use it. So go to UnderdogFantasy.com or download the app and use the code FIELD, that's FIELD, to get a 100% deposit match up to $100.
Young again.
They're getting young again.
They're going to be in a portal. What, you can't say that. What? Duke? Duke's going to be young.
5 people.
Duke's going to be young.
Duke's going to be young, but
No,
Roach
not
will
if
be
Roach,
older.
Proctor, and
Proctor's another year older. Filipowski, if he comes back, they probably bring one guy in. And then, guys, there's a couple of guys coming up in that next class. Mackenzie Mbako, he's beyond his years. I'm just throwing that out there. And he's going to be able to fit a role alongside Proctor.
Who's that?
Mbako. He's going to be able to fit a role and slide right in and play right away. If Lively comes back, that team's dangerous. And I think North Carolina, to go back to our point, if they're able to raid the portal I think they're going to be able to do.
They got Wojcik already, who's a shooter.
For starters, if they're going to raid the portal for guys who are going to start, which I think they're going to do, then I think I'm very optimistic about where this roster is right now because it's a blank slate, Carolina, because you're going to be able to pick whichever kid you want. The NIL situation is good, like Tyler alluded to, and it's still North Carolina, guys. It's still North Carolina.
My question to you is,
I love
do you
battling
find
Wake Forest
yourself
guys
being a
about North
victim
Carolina.
of thinking about how things were when you were there? Because now guys aren't coming in there anymore. And I thought the advantage of the Dukes and the Carolinas was guys would come in there and wait their turn. They're no longer doing that anymore.
Well,
and will younger guys come in and wait their turn at even a UNC because they didn't do it this past year? The entire bench is gone. Now, I understand they didn't play, but do you think they'll continue to come in there and wait?
Well, I come from a different perspective because when I went to Carolina, they just won 05.
Right.
And I went right away into the starting lineup and playing big minutes. But I think for me, I think the college basketball landscape, because of the portal, I would almost place more of an emphasis on getting experienced, older players, because you see San Diego State, their average age is 23. And I think there's value to having grown, strong men that have had a lot of college experience over these 5-star freshmen because they're just not staying in college that long, and everyone's transferring. You don't know who you're going to get. But back to your question, I do think you've got to find a way to implement them. When you have a kid like Jalen Washington or somebody else, a 5-star recruit, some of these big-time guys that can really develop, I think Coach Williams, when you look at him, I think he played those freshmen early on, especially in non-conference games. And when it came to the conference, yeah, they made some mistakes in those early non-conference games. But late in the season, they had all that experience, and they were playing well, and they were a positive for the team.
Hey,
I got one for him. I got one. What's Hey Fanta?
No. I was going to say, because the transfers can come in and take classes in the African American Studies program at Carolina.
Oh,
that's so
no,
popular,
he
but
did
I'm
it.
giving him crap.
He did it. Hey, did you take those classes, Tyler?
I did not take.
You
those
didn't take that
classes.
class?
Those classes were long gone before I got there.
That sounded like a trial. Did you take those classes?
That's right.
I did not take
I'm just giving him crap.
No, my question's actually different. I wonder if you've ever been asked this question. If I said to you, Tyler Hansbrough, the University of North Carolina does not exist when you're a high school senior, where were you heading to college?
Well, a lot of people don't know this. I actually pretty much committed to Florida when Billy Donovan was there. They had that team.
Wow.
David Lee was from Missouri.
That's right.
And I grew up
That's
watching
right.
David Lee. He was like my idol. As somebody who, as a kid, I was like, man, I want to play like him. And he was my host on my visit. It was by far the best visit I had.
What'd you do on the visit?
Oh, we went out. We went to the club. We've been to Gainesville. I didn't say a word. I was like, is this
How old are you?
you?
You're 17?
It's somewhere in that range. Stuck me in, ice.
Best visit ever?
It's the best visit ever.
How late were you out?
I was in the depths of the night. And, it was.
Of the night.
It was in the dark side, buddy.
In the dark side, buddy. What does that mean?
Gainesville in a nutshell, right there.
Oh, man.
Gainesville in the depths of the night.
It was my first visit, and so I remember the next day. Going off a few hours of sleep. I was like, it can't get better than this. There's no place better than Gainesville. I was like, I want to come here, and so
Not for basketball reasons at the time.
it was. Best, Florida. You can only imagine. It was. My visit to North Carolina wasn't great, but I was headed to Florida. And my dad and my parents kind of had to talk me, out of that one a little bit.
I was heading to Florida.
Were you really?
Yeah, if Donnie O'Mac if he had not qualified earlier, I was heading to Florida. Like, it was a done deal.
Did you take a visit?
Yeah, I did. I didn't go on an official visit, so I committed in July. I went on a visit down there in like April or something. Loved it. I was ready to go because I grew up watching like Lee Humphrey and Corey Brewer, who are from Tennessee. Because I know David Lee and all that stuff. I was like, I'm going to Florida, and they didn't have one available because Doniel had committed like when he was in 8th grade, and then he didn't qualify. But they found out he didn't qualify after I had committed to Clemson, so it was a done deal then. So I wasn't going to go back on my word. But yeah, Florida, that place is sweet. I didn't go out in the depths of the night, though. I wish I did. Of course, it would have been Chandler Parsons. It would have been me, Nick Calathis, and Chandler Parsons. So,
Man,
Gainesville might not have existed.
I am so glad I asked you that question.
That's a good